Hey, everyone, we've got a potentially serious severe weather outbreak sequence coming up this week. I've been looking through the data, and there's a lot to talk about, so let's dive right in. Starting off with the day 3 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, so we're talking about Thursday, May 15th, there's already a slight risk in place. That's a 2 out of 5 on the SBC scale, covering parts of the upper Mississippi River Valley into the western Great Lakes. Cities like Chicago, Detroit, Indianapolis, and Milwaukee are all in that zone, so a lot of people could be impacted. So, please take 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, like the video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. And this setup is connected to that upper-level trough I've been tracking. It's currently hanging out over the Pacific Northwest, but it's going to start pushing over the Rockies and move into the plains and upper Mississippi Valley by Thursday. And when that happens, boom, we're going to get storms. What's particularly interesting about this trough is that as it ejects and swings across the Rockies and into the plains, it's interacting a little with the subtropical jet. That means we're not just getting Gulf moisture, there's some Pacific moisture coming in too. That extra layer of juice in the atmosphere could really fire things up. Now, let me show you something that got my attention, the latest Rufus model simulation. Now, this is still experimental, kind of like the HRR, but it looks farther out. You've got to take it with a grain of salt, of course, but what it's showing is, well, it's a bit alarming. If this pans out even close to what's being projected, we could be looking at a pretty significant severe weather day. The model shows storms starting to fire up around 3 to 4 p.m. near Minneapolis. Some of these could produce large hail and damaging winds. Then we start seeing a whole string of supercells developing in the afternoon into the evening, stretching from Wisconsin all the way down toward Chicago. And if this verifies, yeah, we're talking possible tornadoes. What's even more concerning is that the model shows some isolated, discrete supercells popping up in Indiana and Ohio. And let me tell you, whenever you see models hinting at discrete convection that far in advance, it's not something you want to ignore. If those storms stay isolated and don't morph into a messy line, that opens the door for tornado development in a big way. Part of the reason for that? Storm relative helicity. There's going to be a ton of it available. That means storms will be able to rotate efficiently. Those updrafts are going to shoot up and spin, which raises the potential for rotating supercells. If these storms stay separated and don't cluster up, we're looking at the real possibility of tornado genesis. And don't even get me started on the CAPE values. They're through the roof. Around 5 p.m. Thursday, some of the models, especially the NAM, are hinting at surface-based CAPE values pushing past 4,000, even 5,000 JKG in some areas. That's insane. That's like lighting a fuse and handing it to the atmosphere. You usually don't see numbers like that over Illinois and Indiana. If we get anywhere near those values, storms are going to have more than enough fuel to go severe quickly. Now, down south, things look a little different. That same model didn't show much supercell development down there, and part of the reason is likely the cap. If you're not familiar, that's a warm layer of air sitting above the surface that prevents thunderstorms from forming. But here's the kicker, if that cap erodes or breaks, even in a few isolated areas, that's all it'll take. All that energy could release at once, and we could see explosive storm development, maybe even overnight. That's when it gets dangerous. So keep that in mind as we go into Thursday evening. Now, jumping ahead to Friday, May 16th, things don't calm down. In fact, it might be even more intense. The CAPE values stay elevated, and the SBC already has a day 415% risk area, basically another slight risk, stretching from the Ozarks into the Ohio Valley. That includes big cities like Memphis, Nashville, and Louisville. Honestly, we've got all the same ingredients coming together on Friday as we do on Thursday. And some of the newer model runs are even suggesting Friday could end up being the bigger day. The CSU machine learning model is lighting up areas across Kentucky, Tennessee, southern Indiana and Illinois, and into northeast Arkansas, and the Missouri Bootheel. It's showing pretty high odds for severe weather in those zones. So, if you're in those areas, especially in Middle Tennessee and surrounding states, I'm going to be watching you closely. This may end up being the main event. So yeah, we've got a very active pattern ahead. And it doesn't stop after Friday. Going into the weekend, I think we'll still be seeing severe weather risks across the Ohio Valley and parts of the Tennessee and Mississippi valleys. There's even a chance for a small East Coast event around the 17th and 18th. Then there's another little short wave diving out of the south, could trigger storms in Texas on the 19th and 20th. Honestly, it's like one thing after another. And between the 19th and 21st, there's a more robust trough that could set the stage for a multi-day severe weather outbreak across the plains. Storm chasers are going to love it, but it could be dangerous. Cities like Oklahoma City, Kansas City, and even up into Nebraska, and parts of Texas, like DFW, might be in the line of fire. Now, the silver lining, if there is one, is that there's some hint of a quieter pattern after the 22nd. Looks like a ridge could build in the west and potentially bring calmer weather to the middle of the country by the end of May. But until then, buckle up. As for today and tomorrow, things are already heating up. We've still got some lingering severe weather around North Carolina, Virginia, and parts of West Virginia. That stubborn low-pressure system over the southeast is finally moving out, making room for the next big system. There's a small 2% tornado risk near Virginia Beach and down into Greenville. Another small risk zone exists from Tupelo, Mississippi to Birmingham and Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Nothing crazy, but still something to watch. Tomorrow, we get storms popping around Sioux City up into Sioux Falls. That slight risk extends all the way to Bismarck, North Dakota. That's the start of our outbreak. By 2 p.m. Eastern today, we'll see some isolated storms in Kentucky, Ohio, and Tennessee, but the stronger ones will be over the Carolinas and eastern West Virginia. Could see some hail, damaging winds, maybe a tornado or two. And don't forget the flooding risk. 1 to 3 inches of rain is possible across parts of Pennsylvania, Maryland, Virginia, and West Virginia. Especially near the Shenandoah region, flash flooding could be a real concern. Looking toward tomorrow evening, storms will fire up in northeast Nebraska and northwest Iowa by around 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern, pushing through by about 2 a.m. on the 15th. There could be a lot of lightning and some wind damage out of that. And finally, zooming out even more, our 6 to 10-day temperature outlook shows below average temps in the north, above average in the southeast. That battle zone in between, that's where we'll keep seeing storms. Even the 8 to 14-day outlook shows a potential pattern shift with cooler air settling in over the Great Lakes and another ridge forming out west. If that ridge slides east, we might catch a break at the end of May, and honestly, we're probably going to need it. That's all I've got for now. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications so you don't miss a single update. Stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.